Here we go.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Rebel Roots. We are planting seeds for transformation, exploring alternative living, off grid housing, tiny house communities, agrihoods, neighborhoods surrounding agriculture, and wellness and entrepreneurship. I'm excited today to have Tony joining us. He's going to be sharing about how he made a lucrative short term rental business. This is something that folks are always excited about. I know a lot of people are just absolutely blown away by the glamping industry. It's really exploded in the last decade. Agritourism, having these opportunities to pop in and really check out alternative means for housing and lifestyle. And that's exactly what this community's provided. So I think it's really cool that Tony will be joining us today to share about his project. And if he can do it, so can you. I'm also honored to be working with Tiny House Society. And the cool thing about Tiny House Society is that it's basically like the Zillow for tiny homes. So for folks who are wanting to live this lifestyle full time, it's a great way to find listings online that meet your budget and your needs. But it's also a great way for folks to find listings if they're wanting to set up a rental property with residual income, similar to what Tony's done. So without further ado, I will be bringing Tony up to the stage. Hi.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yay. Okay, we have some folks watching live. Folks, if you have any questions, please post those in the comment section. Don't be shy. Type in where you're tuning in from. If anything comes to mind as Tony's sharing his story, we're both all ears and we want to hear and have that interaction with everyone who's watching in the audience. All right, Tony, I'm going to let you take it away and just introduce yourself and what got you into this in the first place, if you are able to share.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on. Seriously, it's a pleasure to be here. I mean, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tony Murray. I'm 30 years old. I live in Miami, Florida. I run a marketing consulting agency these days. However, back 5 years ago, during the middle of a global pandemic, started a tiny house little glamping project and scaled that into a $500,000 company in 6 months. And I'll go into that whole story, but yeah, it was a wild opportunity, one that still is very prevalent today, and I'm super excited to share it with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I have a friend who did the same thing. She's up in Canada and she started the glamping with the geodesic domes.
Oh,
And like
smart.
literally they broke ground on the project and then the pandemic happened at the exact same time. And at first it was fear like, oh no, people can't leave their house. But really the timing was like everyone wanted to get out, to be in nature, to like have that experience. And so I feel like that really was the catalyst for people to explore this whole,
Big time.
opportunity, like alternative. So it's really cool that the timing was similar for your
It,
project.
it honestly could not have been better. It's really funny when people ask me, they're like, oh, like, COVID. I'm like, I had a great COVID. My COVID
Yeah,
was amazing.
sorry.
All right.
This is learning to do live streams. Don't have your phone. Okay, I need to put do not disturb on. That's my life. Hi guys. I list tiny homes for sale and get calls from people all the time. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're good. I have been there before. I put my phone on do not disturb.
Yeah.
Um,
We did a
so
lot for that.
yeah, but it was crazy because people would always ask me. They're like, "Oh my God, like COVID, it's this doom and gloom nonsense." I had a fantastic COVID. Okay, made a ton of money. Made a ton of money. Had like the time of my life with a bunch of my friends, and we like found a way to create a whole lot of opportunity from the ground up. And it kind of just goes to show and like prove the fact that if you put your mind to something, it doesn't matter like what the environment is, it doesn't matter what the ecosystem is, it doesn't matter what's happening in society, you can actually go out there and make money with it. And there's always opportunity if you just know where to look.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, I know you have a presentation that kind of shows the different like glamping cabins. I'd love for you to kind of go through that if you feel like that's a good time right now.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Let's dive into it. All right. So, for those of you guys who are hopping on today, I'd like to know where you're coming in from because you're taking the chance to listen to me talk about my journey and my success and all these things, but I want to know where you're coming in from. Okay. So, drop it in the chat, like where you're jumping in from, because I know a bunch of you guys are coming in from all over the country. Sick. Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for spending your Friday afternoon here listening to me talk about tiny houses and my whole journey. I'm really excited to get into this. So, hello, guys. My name is Tony, and I'm going to explain to you how I took just a simple idea and turned it into a $500,000 business within 6 months. And I'm also going to explain to you how you can do it too. Okay? Now, with that said, I want to be very clear, okay? Today isn't about theory, it's about execution. And I want to walk you through how I took this idea and turned it into a real business. And I did it without a safety net, I did it without a blueprint, and I did it without waiting for permission. And I'll explain later on why that's very important, but I just want to be very clear that when it comes to success, in any capacity, whether it's with tiny houses or your other endeavors, acting with speed will give you more of an advantage than practically anything else, okay? So, who is Tony Murray? Well, allow me to kind of tell you my story, guys, okay? I am the founder of Desert Sky Escapes. I am the owner of Millennium Enterprises, which is my omni-creative consulting and marketing firm, and we specialize in hospitality, real estate, and business development. Now, I'm a serial entrepreneur who's a little bit crazy because over the past 10 years, I've done a lot than just one project. In fact, I've probably had about 20 different businesses that I've started. Some have been profitable, some have not been profitable. That's just part of being an entrepreneur. You just have to try enough different things that hopefully one of them sticks. Now, at 25 years old, I launched a tiny home brand called Desert Sky Escapes. And within 6 months, it was worth $500,000 and it was printing cash. Like I said, today I run Millennium Enterprises, which is an omni-creative marketing and consulting agency that now really focuses on hospitality, real estate, and scaling businesses. But all of that really started from this project, and I'll explain. So, before we go in any deeper, I want to kind of talk about one of the main things that is a problem with all entrepreneurs, okay? A lot of people overthink all day, every day, okay? Now, what you have to realize is that most businesses don't fail because of a lack of money. They don't fail because they don't have the right blueprint. They don't fail because they don't have enough information. They fail because of one thing: hesitation, okay? They wait for certainty. They over-research, they overthink, they over-plan, and next thing you know, the opportunity passes and somebody else takes advantage of it. Don't let that be you, okay? Just the fact that you are here today on this webinar, on this training, means that you've already taken the first step to move towards major success. So take that action and run with it, okay? Now, let's wind the clocks back to 2020, okay? The world was shutting down from COVID. I'm sure you all remember this, right? No end in sight. It was just going to be 2 weeks, then another 2 weeks, then another 2 weeks, then it's 2 months, and now it's been a few months and nobody knows what's happening, right? Everybody was locked inside their houses and desperately looking for an escape. And ironically, I was able to just see something that everyone else missed, right? It was literally right in front of me, and oddly enough, it was in the desert, in the middle of nowhere in Joshua Tree, California, just a couple of hours from Los Angeles. And so what happened is the world's shutting down. At that time, I'm in Florida, right? And my friend Josh, who was my soon-to-be business partner, was living out in California. Him and his girlfriend at the time had just taken a trip out to the desert because they were trying to escape Los Angeles, and they booked a tiny house. Now, that picture right there that I have for you guys is actually the tiny house that they booked. And as you can see, it's not really that impressive. It's in a beautiful location, but it's very little more than a shack. But you have to realize that that little property is printing over $60,000 a year. That's crazy. It's a shack, okay? That's what most people make annually with a job, with a career. And it's a shack in the middle of a desert, okay? So I got this call from my buddy Josh, and he told me that he was staying at this tiny house in Joshua Tree, and it was amazing. It had all the little creature comforts that he wanted. His girlfriend felt safe, and they looked out at the stars every night, and they said it was the most magnificent experience that they have had in the last 12 months. Especially, may I remind you, the whole world's shut down, right? So you have millions of people trying to escape the insanity that's happening in these densely populated cities. So we saw that these tiny homes weren't just little structures, right? They were a representation of freedom, of lifestyle, and art. And this something that is so simple and sweet, but even more than the artistic aspirations that these little things were able to produce, more importantly, they produced money, and a lot of it. So we saw an opportunity in that desert. We didn't have to be experts. Neither of us had any building experience more than building like an IKEA bookshelf, right? But we were determined to figure it out. And while everyone else was sitting at home twiddling their thumbs, debating whether or not they should do something, we turned that creative idea into a reality. Insert desert skyscapes. So I quite literally packed up my car, drove across the United States, and started building in this desert. Now, there were a lot of people who doubted me. There was a lot of noise, people from my family thinking I'm crazy, all this stuff, right? But where everyone else saw doubt, I just saw a green light. Because what we realized, and we did the research, we were looking up properties on Airbnb, we saw that these tiny houses were booked out 90% of the entire month. That's craziness, but it made sense. You have a national park, Joshua Tree, that if you were to list the amount of visitors that they get per year, Joshua Tree is actually one of the lowest at 3 million visitors per year. That means you have 3 million people, 3 million opportunities to have guests, and it's right there. So neither of us had a lot of money to start with. We literally had to bootstrap this. So we didn't start with tiny houses. We started with a parking lot, which is phase one, Operation Parking Lot. We officially launched Desert Skyscapes in December of 2020, okay? With nothing more than a 5-acre piece of dirt in the desert, but we had a vision and we had a plan. We knew that because of COVID, that basically everything was shut down. You could still access the park, yes. However, the camping that's offered within the park completely closed. So that meant 3 million people who normally visit Joshua Tree National Park didn't have a place to stay. So, Operation Parking Lot. We cleared 10 spaces for people to camp, 40 by 40 feet, with a fire pit, firewood, drinking water, and we set it for $50 a night. When I tell you that was the craziest experience of my life because it was like printing money, it was insane. In fact, I still have the videos of us sitting there posting the property and then just less than 2 minutes later, buy. We had 10 slots at $50 a night. That's $500 a night. And yes, we were booked out every single night. $500 a night times 7 days a week is $3,500 per week. We paid off that land in 3 weeks. Which means once we paid off the land, we were able to take all of that profit from the business and rolling it into phase 2, which was the glamping tents. So that's when we really started to rock and roll, because we built 7 glamping tents that had their own off-grid restroom, shower, fire pit. We started doing a lot more business with local partners in the area. We ended up having a gentleman who had a huge YouTube channel named Rob Built, who asked us if we could join his community, talk to his people, and next thing you know, this little idea that just started off as a parking lot and some tents turned into a incredibly profitable organization where we were doing partnerships with huge YouTubers, influencers, people coming out. And again, it's COVID. Everybody just wanted to escape the chaos. And we had this little oasis in the middle of this desert that allowed people to truly just breathe again. No pun intended with the masks. And so we had a guy who had an Airstream who didn't have anywhere to put it. We said, park it on our property and we will build a deck around it and give you a little outdoor cowboy tub. And guess what? We started crushing it. We had 7 units at $200 per night. That's, for those of you who aren't good at math, it's okay. That's $1,400 a day. Times 7 nights a week, you're looking on average, $5,600 per week. That's $22,000 a month. But we didn't stop there. We also started offering guided hikes, massages, catering. We did all of it with the intention of making these experiences memories that would last our guests a lifetime. We wanted to offer a sense of unreasonable hospitality that anybody who showed up at our property knew that they were going to get the best level of service possible and for a very good price. Because we didn't want to just be another Airbnb company. We wanted to own the space. And so while the rest of the world was shutting down, we were in the desert getting rich off of dirt. So, I want to be very clear, okay, guys? It doesn't matter what blueprint, what business, how much information, you will always have risks. Always. You'll have cash pressure. You'll have operational mistakes. You'll have decisions without the full scope of data. And guess what, guys? Those were all problems and risks that we had to take on and spearhead. There were moments, I swear, that I could have collapsed to my knees. We were working every day tirelessly. I'd get calls at 2 a.m. A water tank blew up and I had to go make sure so I could fix this so they could have water to shower in the morning, right? We had cash flow stress because we were rolling all the cash into the next build and the next thing into marketing. We had bad decisions, problems that we just didn't know how to fix, right? Big gambles on new expenses and water tanks, and also 0 guarantees. But we did it all with the understanding that we had a vision, a plan, and we knew that if we stuck to that plan, it would make money. And it was in real time. It's just a matter of scaling and making sure that it's still profitable, right? What you have to realize is that clarity comes after motion, not before it. So if there's any of you sitting here today who want to start a business, something that can make you an extra 5, 10K a month, guess what? You can. I'm giving you the blueprint right now. It just is a matter of pulling the trigger and moving forward. So within this whole experience, we started to have a breakthrough, right? We realized a few different things. We realized that marketing is more important than the mechanics, that speed is better than perfection, and that systems are more important than hustle, okay? What changed everything was the understanding that you can generate demand. And if you can generate demand, you can solve everything else. Our marketing created momentum, and then that momentum created leverage and opportunity. Next thing you know, we're working with all these different companies as consultants in the desert, helping them improve their own Airbnbs. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering, well, Tony, why are you giving away your secret sauce? Well, here's the thing. One, we're building relationships, okay? It doesn't matter where you are. You're in a community, a small community, where everybody's trying to make money. The truth is that if you can help other people get what they want, you'll have everything that you want. That's a Zig Ziglar quote for those of you who are book guys, okay? The truth is that if you can provide a service, a product that is better than everyone else, it doesn't matter if you give away your secret sauce. They're not going to be able to do it better than you. But that's where your genuine love and attention has to come into play, okay? So, why do tiny homes work? Well, guys, you have to understand this, okay? Tiny homes have blown up over the last decade for a few very specific reasons. It's a low barrier to entry. Not super low, not as low as tents, right? But it's still a lot lower than a regular house. It's 1/10 of the price. It's got high emotional appeal. What does that mean? Well, if you look at a tiny house, immediately you feel like it's cute. It's cozy, it's secure. It has all of the creature comforts that people desire without breaking the bank. They work because most people are not in the space of buying a $500,000 property. Tiny houses create an opportunity to meet people where they're at. So you can focus on things like hot tub, fire pit, hammock, all the other amenities that people really desire when they're looking for an Airbnb for a short-term rental. You can focus on all of those things because you have extra cash flow instead of buying a gigantic property, right? And then for first-time buyers, investors, Airbnb owners, the demand is real and it's growing. So I urge all of you to consider this. Now, for all of you guys who are hopping in today, I have a very special live offer that I want to present that Eric and Rebecca were kind enough to bring to my attention. So the property you see here right on this slide, this is a turnkey, ready to rock and roll, fully functional tiny house parked on a beautiful property in Montana? Minnesota? And look at it, guys, it's gorgeous. It's fully functional, it's already hooked up to utilities, and the property owner is willing to drop it $5K. So instead of it being $50,000, you can get it today for $44,999. Now, for those of you guys who are not math wizards out there, allow me to do some simple math. You can rent this property out for $200 a night, no problem. And again, you're not selling it as, hey, come stay in this little tiny house. You say, come experience the beautiful, vast open sky that Minnesota has to offer. The land of the 10,000 lakes is right here, and you can get away from the sound and noise of the 9-to-5 grind that you have and escape into some tranquil bliss. That's what you're selling. You're selling an experience. You're not just selling a shelter. You're selling tranquility that we all tend to lose in our 9-to-5 grind. So, quick math. This property, this tiny house at $45,000 divided by 12 months means if you wanted to pay this off in 12 months, you would have to make $3,750 a month by renting this out. Now let me explain to you how easy that is. You rent this out for $200 a night, which is very common when it comes to it. That's less than the average price of a hotel. At $200 a night times 20 nights out of the month, that's $4,000. That means that if you rent that out at 60% occupancy for the entire month, for 10 months in a row, you pay off that tiny house. And now that property, which guys, we're already at the end of 2025. How quickly were we just saying our 2025 New Year's resolutions? 12 months just snapped by. You have an opportunity right now to take advantage of what these guys are giving you. And you have a team here that is able to show you how you can take a tiny house and park it somewhere and turn it into a cash producing asset. And here is one that within the Tiny House Society, because you signed up and you are here today, you are getting for not only just $5,000 off, but you are also getting for an entire blueprint on how you can make money with it. Again, let me be very, very clear. If you have been considering a tiny home, this is your moment, because time should be treated as an asset like anything else. And if you're not taking advantage of it, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Now, allow me to dive into the evolution of me and what I'm doing today. Now, I own Millennium Enterprises. I help businesses create revenue systems and demand creation. Okay? After Desert Sky Escapes, people stopped asking me how to build and they asked me how to sell. And that's why I created Millennium Enterprises. Now, I don't sell content. I build systems that produce revenue. If you own land, if you have a real estate brand or a hospitality concept, I will help you monetize it to make money. I will help you not just with content, not just with marketing, not just with ads, but with the entire ecosystem that is necessary for a business to scale and make money. And now I get to travel the world taking pictures and helping businesses all over the entire globe make money and travel and just live a life that I would have imagined was just fairy tales and dreams only 5 years ago. So if you guys want to connect with me, I've listed my contact information there. You can get me on Instagram at @RealTonyMurray. My phone and my email are listed there. If any of you guys have a business specifically within hospitality, but I work with all different types, where you would like assistance on scaling, on clarity, on business development, on marketing, branding, all of that, shoot me a call. Because you guys took the time to show up here today and are looking at ways to make money and to grow. I want to give back to you and offer you all of the knowledge that's in my own head to help you guys make money as well. So with that said, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been my pleasure.
Yay! That was awesome. It's so good to hear your story. And yeah, it's like when you start crunching the numbers, it's like a total no-brainer. Like, why would you not do this?
It's so doable. It's so doable. And like, I understand it's really daunting in the beginning, especially if you've never done this before, but just go. Look, people always are looking for a place to stay. People are always looking for experiences. And for those of you who don't know this, millennials, Gen Z, and Gen A, they are all far more willing to put time into experiences and living life rather than going out and buying really expensive like bags and all that kind of stuff. So there has quite literally never been a better opportunity to get involved with tiny houses. Excuse me. Especially within this society. I mean, dear God, you have so many different opportunities and full customization. You can get a tiny house like created, envisioned, and delivered at your doorstep in 90 days. And then you have a blueprint. You have people here who are giving you a solution on not just to have an added value to your house, not just to downsize, not you have a money producing plan given to you on a silver platter. What could you do with an extra $5,000 a month, an extra $10,000 a month, right? My business was making $30,000 a month printing profit because we moved out to the desert and decided to start a glamping business. And mind you, we weren't the first people to do this. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just made it better. We improved upon things where other people were lacking. We made sure that our attention to detail was on point because so many people overlook the little things. And a very smart advisor of mine once told me, he said, wealth is made in the small details. Wealth is made in the fine print. If you want to truly understand how to grow and how to scale, this is how you do it.
I like how you said too, you started with phase one, where it's like, so nowadays there's like, for instance, where I live, I'm on a ranch. And at first we're like, we're going to get a tiny house out here. And I was looking at comps and like you were saying, there's like tiny home rentals that are like $400 a night out here in Sedona. Like it is crazy. And they're like, the amenities are stargazing. It's like, yes, nature. Okay, boom. So there's that. But then we were like, okay, so what if instead of like investing the $50,000 in a tiny home right off the bat, we just started with something like Hip Camp? People are spending all this money just to have a place to like as long as you have the land and a place to do, then it's like a shoe in. So start there. Okay, do that for 3 months, save up. Or like, having them bring their own RV or tiny home. But I liked how you kind of have the phasing. So it's like, all right, now we're going to take the revenue and push it into, it's like, how much was it for the Airstream? How much did it end up costing in terms of overhead for that cute bell tent. Is that what that's called? Like
Yep.
building
So
patio and everything.
yeah, so the bell tents were about $1,000 a piece, and that actually worked out really well because, like, originally we actually looked at tiny houses, right? That was our first idea because that's what started this whole thing in the first place. But we didn't have $10,000 to invest in like a shed and then spend another $10,000 on like insulating it and furnishing. Like that's we didn't have that capital, but we could buy a tent on Amazon and we could build a deck and then one would lead into the other. What we didn't expect was how quickly we would pay everything off. When the whole idea of Operation Parking Lot was, I will take credit for that, was my brainchild because realistically, everyone was all focused on like, oh, we just got to get here. I'm like, okay, but we have the land. Let's monetize it. Turn it into a parking lot. Give people a place to stay. We can still make money. And we paid off the land, which was $12,000. We paid it off in less than a month. And we did that because we just met people where they were at. And that continued to print money every single day. So it's like and by the way, guys, you can still go out there to different parts of this country and Joshua Tree, Sedona, and you can buy a lot for $10,000 and you can put a tent on it and you can start making money like tomorrow. It just requires you to pull the trigger. I'm getting like hit with the sun right now.
I know I'm getting hit with the sun right now too. Look, or I guess you can't see it right now, but it's like finally shifting through the part of my window where the blinds like
Yeah.
no. So I guess that means we should wrap up here soon. Well, I have your contact information, and so this is your phone number, your email address, and
Yep.
then folks, there's like almost 10 people on this live stream. Yay, because we just started promoting it today, so that's exciting. Does
Excellent.
anyone have questions? Any questions? This is your time to shine. Put them
Yeah, guys, I'm here. By all means, let's hear it.
Yes, absolutely. And if folks don't roll in with questions, I wanted to share about the Minnesota property because you had that in your slideshow. Thank you so much for doing that. Because there are opportunities already if people just go look for them, like they are here.
Turnkey, ready to go.
Exactly. It's like, and like I can help too. If folks want to do this, if they're looking for a tiny home or if they're looking for opportunities, like with Tiny House Society, we have a whole directory. And of course, Tony, you said like if people have land or they want to get the business development, was that something that you help with too, like the marketing and stuff like that?
Yep. So I'm a consultant, right? So I will sit down and I'll understand like what you're trying to do, what your business is, where you're at, and I will help you like basically diagnose like a doctor. Hey, here's what you're doing, here's what you need, and then I will prescribe a solution. And that normally comes with different services, different opportunities, different calls, and I work with you every step of the way until we get you to the goal that you want. And most of the time, like I'll sit down and I'll say, okay, like, hey, there's a property in Guatemala, right, where this person wanted to build A-frames and they're beautiful, right? And we sat down, I said, okay, like, what's your goal? What's your timeline? What do you want to achieve? And we sit down and we go through it, and guess what? It's now one of the most profitable Airbnbs in the entire country of Guatemala. So, yeah, whatever. If any of you guys have questions or you want to really get started with this business, by all means, shoot me a message, and I'd be more than happy to get started with you.
Awesome. Yeah, that is so cool that you set that up. I've been wanting to visit Guatemala. I saw Lake Atitlan. That looks
Yep.
so cool. I don't know if you've ever been in that area, but
Yeah, in fact, that's where the Airbnb is. It's an
oh,
A-frame sitting over the lake. Yeah, they have a few of them.
yeah, I've been wanting to check that out for years. Okay, so I guess I have the whole listing if that's okay for folks watching. Just so like here's an example. So let's say you go on tinyhousesociety.com and you're looking up tiny homes, and this one has built into it. So there's 19 lots. So Matt, who built it up, he used to work with Incredible Tiny Homes. So all the infrastructure, all the things you would have to consider, like electrical, waste, water, etc., all that's already set up. And not to mention, he has this tiny home that's already built that's available like literally today. So if you wanted to move in, you want to live there for 9 months out of the year, and 3 months you want to go backpacking in Europe, or you want to go on a sabbatical or whatever, he said it's totally fine to just rent it out during those months. And he has also just started this up, so he's planning to add more amenities and such, but it is in a remote area, so you have nature all around you. It's very quiet, peaceful, serene. There's a concert hall not too far away, and he said within 2 miles there's actually a wedding venue and an event venue. Like the closest hotels he was saying are like 20 minutes or more away. So this is really cool to have a rental spot right by that big event venue. But this is an example of a tiny look, butcher block countertops. Like, they're super cozy, quaint little sleeping quarters on the downstairs area. And I just talked to Matt, who has this tiny home that he designed, and it's available right now. He wants to sell it as soon as possible. Like, that's his goal. He wants to fill up this community. He's open to short-term rentals. He's super flexible. It's like SherburneTinyHomes.com. I could find the website. But he said, if you want to try this out before you buy, he is literally willing to do try before you buy. So he would just expect like a modest deposit. But if you want to like $1,000 security deposits, just in case there's any issues when you're living there, if you like damage something, we get that back if we change your mind. But he was like, just come live in it or come check it out. And he's very confident that folks will love it. He worked so hard to design it. But again, there's 19 lots. You could go in here and find other tiny homes and then just park it on this community, on this plot of land. And so that's one of the reasons people are like not doing this, is like, oh, there's too many components, it's too confusing, there's too many options, and I don't know, where do I start, where do I get the land, where do I find the tiny home, or whatever. Like, I think, Tony, my takeaway from your story was like, just do it. Like, Stop with the excuses and just proceed with haste.
Yeah. Look, fear and doubt and hesitation will crush more of your dreams than any actual like fear experience will, right? Like, the truth is that if you want to be successful, you have to overcome that doubt. And there's no better time to get started on something than today. So just put one step in front of the other, because the truth is that if you want to get to the finish line, right, you're not going to get there by standing still. You have to take actionable steps forward. And it's okay if you don't know what you're doing. It's okay if you don't have it all figured out. I didn't have it all figured out. I learned as I went along. The amount of YouTube videos that I consumed, and we didn't even have ChatGPT. Now you have AI, right? Like, you have so many free resources that you can use to make money, and that you can use to turn this into a very profitable business. Do it. There's quite literally no excuse not to.
Yeah, ChatGPT, make me a profitable glamping business plan. And then it just like pops it out as a PDF. Find me 5 pieces of land on the MLS that would work for this, that are under this amount of money.
And I'll do it.
I love that. Well, thank you for paving the way. It is inspiring. I myself have worked toward tiny home community, and then I had a 10-acre homestead in Texas with a few different lot locations. And I know it is a lot of work to get it up and going, but once it is, it can be a very beautiful thing. So glad to see that you were able to pull it off with the short-term rentals. I've never explored that avenue, but I'm trying to get something going here on the ranch out in Arizona, and that's been exciting. So we're going to do Hip Camp first, and then kind of, like you were saying, phase 2, then you can explore into something once you get more revenue coming in, you kind of slowly build it up. So yeah, just do it like Nike. Awesome. Yeah. Well, any closing thoughts, Tony? And then we'll wrap up before the sun blinds us. It's coming into your eyes.
I mean, for any of you guys who are here, I will do 3 15-minute free strategy calls today, and today only. If you want one, shoot me a text or give me a call. I will we'll connect, and I will go through with you. But yeah, and for any of you guys who are watching, I just want to applaud you, right? You're here, you're spending your Friday afternoon sitting here listening to us talk, and you should be proud of yourself, because a lot of people don't even show up, right? A lot of people will always say that they have an idea, they have a dream, they have a vision, but they never do anything to actualize it. So the fact that you're sitting here right now, spending the last 40 minutes with us, going through this, listening to my story, you should be proud of yourself. So with that said, I just want to say thank you for your time. And Rebecca, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you guys down the road.
Yay! Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Okay, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions, we are all here as a resource. My name's Rebecca. I'm hosting these Rebel Roots live streams to explore alternative housing, alternative living, getting off the grid, entrepreneurship, going against the grain. Thank you for listening. I also work with Tiny House Society, and we are helping folks connect with tiny homes that are up on our marketplace, tinyhousesociety.com. And there's also tiny home communities that already exist. And if you want to start something similar to Tony, he, I'm sure, would be honored to help you. Here's his contact information once again. And that's so cool that he's offering a free call today. Wow, that's amazing. I see we have 10 folks watching live. So if you're watching the replay, I'm sure if you text Tony or email, he'd be glad to chat with you, even if it's after the fact. So thank you all for tuning in. This has been episode 5 of Rebel Roots. Until next time, bye.